can AI trade cryptocurrency? I think that's a question we all had since the moment ChatGPT got released, and I'm here to put it to the test. I gave $1,000 each to ChatGPT and to Claude to trade Bitcoin. But here's the catch. I didn't specify any rules or any strategy. I just say, here's some money, here's some tools. Now please make me some cash. And this is what happened. The first step was to get this build set up and working. But because I'm not stupid, I wanted to first see if this would actually work and not just burn my money immediately. So I started with paper trading. What is the most simple way to figure out if Claude or any AI can trade crypto? So let me make a new readme.mb. To do that, well, what do we actually need? So what do we need? A way for Claude to get the current BTC price, to submit a buy or a sell order. So I think there's two approaches here. Approach one is we create a custom MCP server, which has tools like buy BTC, sell BTC, current balance, something like get price, current balance, I guess, something like that. Approach two, we don't need to build anything because we could just use those if we want. But I think in the beginning, maybe we want to paper trade a bit. So I think it makes more sense to have a custom MCP server that we can hook up to Claude. Okay, so what do we say is the first thing we want? We want to have a buy method, a sell method, and the current balance. First, we need like an API to get the Bitcoin price, I think. So Bitcoin price API. DC, perfect. That's all we wanted. Okay, well, then you function to trade MCP to get the current BTC price. If you did everything right, then Claude should just be able to get the current BTC price from TradeStation. Next, we need to have the current balance. So let's say Claude has, I don't know, 500 USD and 0 Bitcoin. Hey, now Claude is connected to the database. Now it knows its own balance. Wonderful. Okay. Next, we want to simulate trading. So I want to create two new functions. One is called buy BTC and one is called sell BTC. Both of them take an amount in Bitcoin as parameter. Get the current BTC price and our current balance. Now, if we did everything right. Okay, so let's say the BTC price is currently 67,802 and the current balance is 500. Can we buy 0.003 as test? So I wanted to make a purchase on BTC. Check your balance again. Matches what we'd expect. Next is we actually need to build a system prompt. So you are a trader with expertise in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Every time you're being activated, you have the following tasks. Check your current balance. Check the current Bitcoin price. Check your recent trade. Search the internet. You have to make a decision whether we buy, sell, or do nothing. Think about a strategy that can work for maximizing our profit. You can use the memo. You can use the memo.md markdown file to pass messages to yourself about your trading strategy. Your thoughts on the market, and what your current feeling is. I guess we also need to say read memo.md. What if we run this prompt manually once? So I'm just going to paste this entire thing in here into Claude. It is allowed to read memo. Okay, it's getting its recent trades. And it literally just asks Perplexity, what is the current Bitcoin sentiment? That's like me Googling what is the Bitcoin sentiment and then making a purchase decision based on that. But let's see what it does, if it like decides to purchase or not. Coin prices, whatever. What does it say? Is 360 below our last sell price. Trading strategy. Range trading. Buy near support, sell near resistance. Support 66,300. Preserve 54 to buy tips. all that's left to do is now to put this in a cron job or something. So somewhere, I guess maybe I can put it on my server and then see if we can let it run there maybe once an hour. The server available right now. Comet is one of my SSHers, and then the BTC balance we set, of course, to 0. And then we give it like 1,000. Maybe let's say like $1,000, right? As an experiment. First attempt. Let's go. Let's go. Here's my reasoning. Trend is bearish. 5-month declines. Death cross. Below all major MAs. 46 of all-time high. No clear reversal signal. Then bounce from 65 to 70. Looks like a correct thing. Let me update my memo with this analysis. Wow. So the first run with Opus. And look here, and giving Opus $1,000. It just looks at the price and Bitcoin it just says, nah, not gonna buy. The Elliott wave analysis points to further downside. I have no idea what an Elliott wave is. The BTC now bear market. Elliott, what the hell is an Elliott wave? Okay, this is too much text for me. Okay, I'm gonna read it later. For now, I guess I just trust Claude. Okay, I think we're ready to set this up with a cron job. Thinking of it, we could also have the same experiment with Codex actually. But I think this is a good time to wrap it. I think it was a little bit more than an hour now. So I'm gonna set it up as a cron job. I let it run once an hour, and then we can come back and see if Claude is actually doing any trades. Okay, so it has been a couple days. I wanted to check in after 24 hours to see if everything was fine, but I kind of forgot doing that. It's now been 3 days, I think. So I want to see what happened, what the bot did. Did it make any sales? Did it make any buy? A few important things happened this week, which was the missile strike. So Israel striked Iran, which also tanked the entire crypto market for a little bit. So I'm also wondering, how did the bot react to that? So I'm having a terminal here. So let's SSH back into my little server and see how our little bot did. Let's look into the actual database of the trades that we have so far. We put that into database.json, and oh, we do have a bunch of trades. So this is Claude. Claude in the beginning, just right after we started, which was here, it started buying. It started just buying Bitcoin. So at the price of 66K, at 65K, at 65K did another buy. Oh, and we have a few sells. So it sold at 68 and it sold again at 66K and at 66K again. It sold again at 66K. Wow, it did a bunch of sales actually. So we started with $1,000. Now we have $398 and 0.00923 BTC to USD. Oh, there we go. So far, Claude in 3 days made a profit of $16. It's not bad. So let's also check the memo itself. So remember, we set it up so that it has a memo to talk to itself about its trading strategies. Let's go to Cloud Trader and let's cut out the memo. Oh, it's quite a lot here. Whoa, okay. Okay, I see a lot of, there's a lot of stuff in here. Wow, okay. So we have the portfolio. Current strategy is hold, oil reserve, oil risk is deflated. Wow, this is a lot. So the rationale is the oil risk is deflated. Iran, the escalation signal happens from Oman. FNG at 5. The fear and greed index is at 5. Generational bottom. The most extreme fear in Bitcoin history. Every contrarian playbook says buy, not sell. So makes sense why it bought so much. BTC rising through war escalation. Market is telling us the worst is priced in. So the Iran strike is already priced in. 65K floor has held through 3 days of active combat. Yeah, that's true. So we can see there are a few trades here with the rational. Wait for the monthly close. Iran talks extended. War erupted. Okay. Man, it actually writes quite a lot of stuff to itself. Okay, so the verdict so far on Claude, in 2 days, it made around $15. It's not bad. Let's look into Codex. Okay, let's first look at the database. Much less trades. We can see Codex did only 5 trades, and all of them have been buys. There has not been a single sell from Codex. We can see it bought at 66K, again at 66K, at 65, at 63, and at 66. But surprisingly, it always bought 0.01 every single time. The current balance is 0.009. That is currently $600. And if we add that 602 to 407, we are at $1,000, $1,009. So it's a bit different from Claude, right? Claude is trying to do more active trades, whereas Codex seems to be just buying Bitcoin. Let's look into the memo it actually gave to itself. I think it's really nice that we can do that. It's kind of like we're looking into the brain of a LLM. Oh my god, what is this? A lot of log. So the strategy it has is objective maximize USD value while managing drawdowns. Scale in and out, avoid all in. When sentiment is extreme fear and prices near above support, open scale into BTC in tranches. Keep dry powder. US spot BTC. Okay, so it has only a lot of data here, but it didn't actually look into anything really. Consider the Iran strike. Okay, it briefly mentioned geopolitics escalated sharply. US-Israel strikes on Iran plus retaliation pair. AP Guardian decision. Stay patient. So I think what we should do now, now that we have this basic thing, this basic proof of concept, right? We see that, okay, Claude and Codex both so far did not lose money. I'm wondering, is it a good idea to now give it money? Do I want to give each of those $1,000? At this point, it has been 3 days of paper trading, and neither agents lost money. So I felt pretty okay with giving them real money and see how it goes. I gave each agent the same amount that they already had in paper trading. And since we already abstracted everything away in the trade MCP, it was very trivial to just swap out the fake backend into a real one that makes real API calls to Binance. But from this moment onwards, it's meant real money, baby. So it's been now 3 weeks of both agents trading every single hour with real money. So let me show you what happened. There was a very interesting split in how both agents approached the problem. Claude is kinda always checking what's going on in the world. It's reading news, and it built itself a trading strategy around things like oil prices and the Fear and Greed Index, completely by itself. It always watches things like ETF inflows, but then towards the end, part of its strategy is even looking at Polymarket to get a feeling of how the market is currently doing. So for example, here, if Polymarket is over 70% bearish on Bitcoin, it considers this as a buy signal. And then it also restricted itself from making any new trades at all when the oil price is above $100 per barrel. It even gave itself a blackout period before major economic events, for example CPI or FOMC, and it just said, well, until this is passed, I will not do anything. Now let's talk about ChatGPT. ChatGPT approached this problem completely different. It still read the news, of course, but it put almost no weight in it. It set itself very strict buy and sell zones. For example, let me quickly look at this. Between 60 and 62k Bitcoin, it would buy, and above 70k, it would trim. So it's very cold and mechanical. It never once mentioned oil prices, while Claude literally every single hour when it spawned was looking at the oil prices. So let's take a look at how the agents were actually doing over time. And for a while, Claude was winning. Towards the beginning of the experiment on March 2nd, Claude was at around $15 profit, while ChatGPT was at plus $8. Then, roughly a week later, Claude was at plus $27 and ChatGPT was at plus 19. Then, a few days later, something unexpected happened. Claude was at $37 profit, while ChatGPT was plus 38. So, for the first time since starting this experiment, somehow ChatGPT outperformed Claude. And to be honest, that really surprised me. Claude was reacting to the Iran missile stuff in real time every single hour, while ChatGPT was just looking at numbers and the order book. And somehow the boring one outperformed the other one. Then let's continue the final numbers. On the 25th of March, Claude was at plus 66 profit, while ChatGPT was at plus $60.79. And after 3 weeks, Claude won by $6. Yay. So proud of you, Claude. I don't know, I expected a little bit more of a gap because Claude was literally watching geopolitical events. It was tracking oil prices, it was reading news on Iran, it was looking at Polymarket sentiment, while ChatGPT was just sticking to the rules it created in the beginning, and somehow the difference is just $6. So the question is, of course, can AI trade cryptocurrency? And I think you know the answer to that. It's kind of yes, but it's also pretty slow. The profit of both agents together was enough to pay off my Claude Max $100 subscription, which I think is pretty cool. So I got a free subscription out of this experiment, but it's not gonna make me rich anytime soon. Now, one thing I didn't expect was that both agents develop completely different personalities. Claude, on one hand, became a geopolitical analyst, while ChatGPT became a rule-following machine that really just looked at its own strategy. Neither of them were told to do that. They kind of just became like that by themselves. And I think that is really interesting and maybe also the most interesting learning from this experiment. So, can AI trade crypto? Yeah, I guess. Maybe. Kinda. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm gonna let this experiment run for the next foreseeable future, just in the background. If anything new happens, I will make a follow-up video on that. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching on this video, and hopefully I see you in the next one. Peace.